Hi everyone, welcome to the Hour of Power Masterclass. We're just going to give it another couple of minutes to allow for more people to join. Hi everyone, okay, we're going to get started and I wanted to just start by letting you know that this session is being recorded. Hi and welcome to the third in our Hour of Power series. Today's focus is going to be on Power Automate. So a number of you might have joined one of these sessions before, but for those of you who haven't, it will run for roughly an hour. We're going to start with a presentation and overview of the Power Platform and Power Automate before moving on to a live demonstration and walkthrough so that you can see Power Automate in practice. All of your mics should be muted, so if anyone has any questions, then please type them into the chat box. We'll do our best to answer them during the session, and for any that we don't get to, we'll follow up with you afterwards. So a quick introduction to your presenters today. I'm Katie, I'm Clade's marketing manager. I'm based in our Sydney office, and I'm joined by Nadija, my colleague who's our regional director for Melbourne and is also a Microsoft Most Valuable Professional. For those of you who aren't aware of Microsoft MVPs, then they are professionals who've shown outstanding technical expertise in Microsoft technology and who've shown a real commitment to helping others to get the most from their Microsoft technology. So a number of you will have joined one of these sessions before, but for those of you who haven't, today we want you to come away with an understanding of the basics of the Power Platform and Power Automate. We want you to understand how flows are created in Power Automate and how they can be used by business users within your organization. A quick overview of the Hour of Power Masterclass series. They've been developed as a result of customer feedback. We actually ran a customer survey last year, and off the back of that, received a number of requests for more tips, tricks, and masterclass style sessions. We've designed them for anyone who's interested in getting started with the Power Platform, and they're designed for business users across the organization to get a bit of an introduction. During each session, we'll cover a different part of the Power Platform, how it works, and what you can do with it. Each session stands alone, so you can join us for one of the sessions or all of them, and we'll record them, so if you don't get to make each of the sessions, you can watch them afterwards. As I mentioned, a number of you on this call today are customers, so you'll know a bit about Clade. But for any of you who aren't, here's a quick introduction to us. We are a Microsoft Gold partner. We're headquartered in Sydney, although we have coverage across Australia. We have 60 staff working across the country with offices in Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane, and also up in Darwin. We're actually 100% Australia-based. Microsoft is our bread and butter, and we have capability across the entire Microsoft stack, with applications including Dynamics 365, the Power Platform, Microsoft 365, and Azure. We've actually built two of our own products built on Microsoft technology, CAMS, which is a membership management platform, and Scrim, which is a workplace health and safety solution designed for high-risk companies. We're really proud to have grown rapidly, particularly in the last few years. Actually, at the end of 2021, we were listed as one of Australia's fastest growing companies with a listing in the Australian Financial Review's Fast 100 list. We've grown even faster within the past couple of months following an acquisition by Brennan IT, one of Australia's leading managed services providers. We have expertise across industries, but we have particular experience working with customers in the public sector and government, with non-for-profits and for companies operating in the healthcare industry. I'm now going to pass on to Nadija to give you an overview of the Power Platform and Power Automate.
Okay, thanks, Katie. Yeah, so first of all, I'll give you a bit of an overview of the Power Platform. So Power Platform is a platform that's built by Microsoft to enable citizen developers or professional developers to build applications very quickly and very easily by drag and drop sort of clickable tools. So which means you don't need to be a professional developer or with knowledge of writing code. So if you want to create a nice visualization with data visualization, you can use Power BI. If you want to build apps very quickly to do certain activities, collect data or any other business applications, you can use Power Apps to create your applications. So today we're going to talk about Power Automate, which is a tool where you can use to automate your processes. It can help you do those tedious tasks that you do day to day. Automate those processes so you can focus on more important things. And then lastly, there's Power Virtual Agents. That is a intelligent virtual agent, which is also known as a chatbot solution. And you can configure that for things like FAQs. So you can let the bot do the work that so you don't have to do answer those. For example, what is the best way to fix a certain issue? A bot can help you with that, and your staff. Now, so all of these solutions are built on top of some core services. One is a data connector, so you can connect to Microsoft applications as well as third-party applications with data connectors. There's a thing about 600 now connectors available, and you can build, if you have professional developers, you can easily build additional connectors for any legacy applications as well. AI Builder is a solution where you can train an AI model to do certain things. Recently we were looking at implementing a solution for a customer where they take a photo of the FPOS receipts, and we're looking at using AI Builder to train how to figure out what is the receipt number, capture it like an OCR solution, and then update a certain record so we can easily do banking reconciliations. And finally, there's Dataverse. The Dataverse is a database with a number of services wrapped around it. For example, it has built-in security model. It has built-in audit model. It has also built-in API. So you can very easily create a table in Dataverse, and then instantly you will have an API available for you. So you don't need a developer to create another API for you. So that's sort of the core, very high-level overview of the core features of the Power Platform. Okay, so today we're gonna focus more on Power Automate. So Power Automate is a tool or a service that will help you automate certain workflows and connect while you connect to your favorite applications. So it can be Outlook to send emails automatically, or create documents in SharePoint based on certain templates when certain activities happen in say Dynamics. And then so you can use Power Automate to create approval workflows, which will send emails, and you can approve certain things. It could be a leave request or a request for purchasing a new device for a laptop, for example. You can simply approve that within an email, so you don't have to go into different systems. So that's just some of the few examples where you can use Power Automate to create your automate your tasks. And recently we were looking at using Katie asked me, Nadija, when you win an opportunity, can you make sure the account is marked as a customer, not a prospect? So we create a very simple workflow to do that, and so that way we don't forget that it's now that account is a customer, not a prospect. So there's like little things which will help you, be more efficient with your day-to-day work. Or it could be as simple as setting a reminder for yourself, so you work more efficiently as well. So the main thing is, as a citizen developer, because when I say citizen developer, it can be anyone, right? It's anyone in here who's not necessarily involved in building IT systems can very easily create a Power Automate workflow or flow, and to connect to multiple systems and create automations for yourself. So yeah, so that's sort of the very high level overview of Power Automate. Yeah, so with the Power Automate, I remember when it started, Microsoft created connectors for number of different systems, internal and external. So SharePoint, Outlook, Office 365 connectors, Teams, even Salesforce or MailChimp. And over the last few years, this list of connectors, the library, has grown and grown and grown. So it's very rare that you don't find a connector for one of the applications that you use. And there's also, if you want to connect to a certain website, there's HTTP. It's like a REST API that you can create as well if you need as a custom connector. Yeah, I think now there's over 600 connectors, like social media applications, Google Drive, Google Mail, anything that you use today. So Power Automate, like I mentioned, as a citizen developer, you can use it to create workflows. You don't need any knowledge of code. You can easily create it. Could be in a marketing team, so finance team or HR. And also, as IT professionals, we also use Power Automate. Because of the ease of use and that we can create workflows very quickly. And especially if you're using Dynamics or other Microsoft platforms, there's a lot of natively built features that help you do some really cool things. For example, you can do a trigger if you create or update a record in Dynamics, for example. It could create a trigger that will create the flow, kick off the flow very quickly. Yeah, so when we build systems for certain scenarios, we use Power Automate to help us with automating certain features. Okay. Yeah, so some benefits of using Power Automate. So so I mentioned about improving business processes. You can automate any manual processes, so you can free up your staff's time to do some important things. And you can use Power Automate for data-driven decisions. You can automate approval workflows. You can collect data through Power Automate. So you can do it more efficiently, and you can make decisions faster. So when you use automation and improve efficiencies, it will increase employee satisfaction. The errors will be reduced because most things are automated. So human error will be low. Yeah, so and the other main thing, especially if you already invested in Microsoft cloud solutions, like Office 365, Teams, or Dynamics 365 or Power Platform, you already have Power Automate as part of your licenses. So it's just sitting there. So if you're not using it, I think it's a great tool for you to use. It doesn't cost you anything extra. There are a few types of Power Automate flows. So there's one type called cloud flows, desktop flows, and business process flows. Today, we primarily focus on the cloud flows. The desktop flows are called Power Automate for desktop. This is the robotic process automation tool that we will be we have a separate session. I think the next session is about RPA. So we'll talk more about it in that session. The business process flow was originally built for Dynamics 365 to help users and guide users to go step by step, collect data and collect right data at the right time. Again, we won't go into too much detail about the business process flows today, but we'll focus more on cloud flows. Within cloud flows, there are 3 different types of flows. First one is automated. Automated is you can trigger a Power Automate flow when something happens in the system. For example, you create a new record, or you update a specific field in a specific record. Then that we can configure a flow to trigger automatically and do certain things. Instant flow is really about creating on-demand flows. So it could be it could be a button that we would create in the Power Automate app, or we could trigger something from a Power App. So yeah, you would need someone to initiate it, and then it'll run instantly. The third type of cloud flow is scheduled flows. So if you have something, some process you want to run, let's say on a daily basis, if you want to run something overnight, maybe you want to get an email about your, that day's sales. And you can schedule a workflow scheduled cloud flow to run maybe midnight, and it will run through the systems, get the right information, and send an email at that time. Power Automate use cases. So like I said, as a business user, you can use Power Automate. So you can be an account manager, where you want to, store a copy of your email into an email attachment into SharePoint. maybe you're working in HR. You want to manage a leave request. Then you can use Power Automate. Simply, you're a staff member. You want to, get push notifications to when you get important messages. So you can have Power Automate that looks at your emails, and then if it's from a certain person, then you can create a trigger for push notification on your mobile device. Or like I mentioned earlier in the scheduled flow, if you're a sales manager, you want to get a weekly or a daily summary of your sales, you can create a Power Automate flow. Okay, so I'll run through 3 different use cases. And there's a few videos, so I'll run through that, and I'll explain how that flow works. The first one is send reminder to myself using a Power Automate app. So like I mentioned, there's a Power Automate app. You can download it from your Apple Store or App Store or Google Play Store. It's freely available as long as you have Power Automate access to Power Automate. You can use it. So in this case, I've created a button. So when I click the button, in this case, after 10 seconds, it will send me a push notification to do certain thing. So run that. So I'm going to press the button. Now the flow started. Now the flow is going to wait for 10 seconds. And after 10 seconds, it's going to send me a push notification to my device. So that's a reminder. So it's a very simple scenario, but you can use that concept to do something more complex and more useful. Let's go to the next scenario. So in this one, I'm going to set up an approval flow. So this first screenshot, what I'm showing is, so this flow connects to 5 different systems. The first one is SharePoint. And the next one is, it's called approvals. So it's a separate database, separate system as part of Microsoft platform. And then third one is Microsoft Teams. So I can send certain messages to a channel in Microsoft Teams. And I'm going to connect to Office 365 users, so I can get access to different users in the organization. And lastly, I will also connect to Outlook or Exchange to send emails from the same flow. So this is how the approval is going to work. I'll run through that first. So on your left-hand side, you have your SharePoint. On the right-hand side, you have the flow. So in this flow, it will run when a file is created. It'll post a message in Teams, and it'll kick off an approval process. And when the person approves it, it will post another message saying this person approved this document. So on the left-hand side, I'm going to create a new document in SharePoint. I'm going to rename that as an important document. And then I'm going to write some text and save. Now that the document is created, the flow is going to automatically trigger. So this is one of those automated flows. So you can see at the bottom all the different runs, instances of that flow flow runs. So you can see this one, it just got triggered. When it says running, it means it just triggered. So all the ticks on the right-hand side, that's where it is up to. So now it has already sent a message to review to a specific person to review the document. And also I got an email. So if I click on that, I can I can see the buttons within the email itself. I can get the link to the document, and I can also have the buttons. So when I say approve, I can write some comments saying about the document as part of the approval, and then I can click submit. So this will then trigger on the right hand side. You see the waiting condition completed in the approval, and then it kicks off to the next step. So because it's approved, the flow moved to the left-hand side of the condition. It sent another message to the chat saying, yep, it's approved. And you can see the comment is also as part of that message. That's the approval flow. Okay. The third example I'm going to run through is how we can trigger Power Automate flow from a Power App. So the great thing about all the Power Platform tools, they are natively integrated. So you can trigger a Power Automate flow from Power Apps. You can trigger Power Automate flow from virtual agents, etc. So in this one, we're going to talk about flow trigger from Power App. Okay, so we are going to create an instant flow. So this one is one of those on-demand flows. So I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to click Power Apps, how you trigger it. And from there, you create a new action. I'm going to look at create an item. So I'm going to create a list item in a SharePoint list. So to do that, I'm going to connect to a SharePoint site and select the list that I want. So in the title, I'm going to click on this Ask Power Apps. So what's going to happen now is I can pass in a certain value or field or text string from Power App to Power Automate. So I'm going to use that to create a task in SharePoint. So I'm going to create a very simple app in Canvas app in the system called Task Creator. I'm going to choose a font format. And I'm going to add a couple of components into this. The first one would be text input. So this is where I'm going to type the name of the task. And then I'm going to drop a button. So this button will be used to trigger the Power Automate flow. Yep, I'm going to rename it. And then I'm going to go to actions. So from here, I'm going to select actions for the button, and I'm going to select Power Automate and pick, and the flow that I just created is now available here. System will add that flow, and then I had to make some adjustments to that. Because I said I'm going to pass in a parameter, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the text input box's text value as an input to the flow. So when I do that and save it and run this flow, run the Power App, sorry. Just make sure you save it. That's it. Now we've created a simple Power App. And we'll run this one. You can simply click play. Yeah. Let's write some text and create task. So every time you click that button, it is going to go and create a task in a SharePoint list. So I kicked off 3 of those. Now, if I refresh the SharePoint list, you can see there's 3 tasks created. Yeah, so that's another one where you connect from a Power App and trigger a Power Automate flow. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll run through a live demo, how to create an approval flow. So Katie, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. There are a few different ways to create flows, so I'll go through one scenario. So when you go to, I'll do it this way, make.powerapps.com. From here, I'm going to select an environment. So I'm going to use this environment for now. And I'm going to go for solutions. So in here, I have a solution which I created. I'm going to use that one. So this solution have all the different things that I've created. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new automation, and it's going to be a cloud automation, and it will be an automated flow. Okay, I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it send approval request. And then because it's an automated flow, we need to say how you want to trigger it. So in this case, I'm going to call database. I'm going to choose when a row is added, modified, or deleted trigger. And click create. So in this one, this is what I'm going to do. I'll just quickly switch a different tab. I have Dynamics here, Dynamics Field Service. In here, I have bookable resources or resources. So what I'm going to do is when I create a new resource in the system, let's say I want to add a new contractor into the organization to the operations work. When I add a resource, I want to get approval from a manager to make sure that we can assign work for this resource. So what I'm going to do is click new and create a new resource. So I'll quickly show you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to select a contact type. Let's say I'm going to create this one. I'm going to put an email. I'm going to select an approver. And you can see the approved button field is marked as no. Oh, it's grayed out. So because I don't have permission to approve this. So I'm going to create it and then and save the record. And I want the Power Automate flow to go and get the approval and update this record and mark this resource as approved. So that's what I'm trying to do. So let's go back to this. Okay, so first of all, the change type. So I had to choose the change type. So in this case, I'm going to choose as added. So when a record or a row is added to a table, I want this flow to trigger. You can also do it, set up the triggers to edit or deleted, edit or modified, etc. There's different options that you can choose from. And then I'm going to choose a table. So because there are a lot of tables in Database, I'm going to type. So it'll give me a short list of tables that are as part of that name. I'm going to choose bookable resources. The scope, I'm going to select organization. So which simply means a record is added to any part of the organization as a bookable resource. it will trigger. The next step, the next step is to add an approval step. So I'm going to start type approval. It's very easy and quite useful to use this search function because there are a lot of connectors and actions that you can choose from. I would highly suggest start typing what you think you want. It's approval or send an email or update a record. You just start writing and it will come up with suggestions. So in this case, I'm going to select an action, which is a start and wait for approval action. And this action has different types. I'm going to select approve, reject, first to respond. So it's easier to see. Okay, so what is the title? So our title is request for new resource. And I'm going to select, put the name of the new resource. So in here, when I'm going to search some dynamic content, and I'm going to choose the name field of that bookable resource record. So this is when a row is added, modified, or deleted. That is the bookable resource record. So I'm going to select that. Now assign to, I'm going to assign it to myself. Gonna pick my name. So you can choose anyone in the organization for this. And if you expand the advanced options, you can see some additional fields as well. So in this case, I'm going to add the requester as well. There's only one person in this environment, so I'm going to choose the same person. That's it. So that's the second step where we start and wait for an approval. And the next step is I'm going to check for the output or outcome of that approval. Was it approved? Was it rejected? So in this case, I'm going to choose the condition control. And what is the condition I'm checking? So I'm going to check the outcome of start and wait for approval step. So when someone approves it, the value which says approved or rejected will be stored in this outcome field. So I'm going to say outcome is equal to, I believe it's approve. Just want to double check. Approve, yeah, it's called approve. And once it's approved, if it's approved, the flow will go to the left-hand side, which says yes. If it's rejected, this condition is false, so it'll go to the right-hand side. So if it is approved, what I want to do is to send an email to the resource saying, you're approved. You can now, start getting jobs from this organization. So I'm going to start typing because I want to send an email. I'm going to say send email. And there's different ways to send emails. In this case, I'm going to choose send email version 2. This is via Outlook. And what I'm going to do is, okay, who do I send this to? If I go back to the resource record, there's a primary email field. So I'm going to map it to that field. So you can see in that bookable resource record, there's a primary email, and I'm going to choose that field. In the subject, I'm going to say you are to work at company. here I'm going to say congratulations. To make it a bit more personal, I'm going to put his that or her name in there. Congratulations. Okay, you are approved. That's it. So this will now send an email to that person. Okay, so all we have to do now is save. So when you hit save, it will save this flow, and it will turn it on. So what I'm gonna do is gonna go back to this. Gonna look at this 2 cloud flows. So the one I created earlier, I'm going to turn it off. So from here, if you create something, you can keep it turned off. If you're just testing things out, you don't want send emails to go everywhere. You just turn it off for now. So I have the one that I just created turned on. All right, so let's give it a shot at this. I'm going to create a new resource. I'm going to select a contact type, and I'm going to create a new contact. Test. I'm going to put yep, I'm just going to create a contact record in there. Now this contact record is now linked to the resource. I'm going to put the email address in here. I'm going to choose an approver, which is someone in the organization. I can't change anything in here, and I'm going to say click save. So when I click save, this is still marked as no, and this should now trigger the flow. So if we go here, if I click go back, we look at the flows. I'm going to open the flow. I should see all the runs of this flow under this section. So it hasn't triggered just yet. So I'm going to refresh this. Okay, so you can see it started running. So I'm going to open it and have a look what's happening here. So it triggered, and it's now waiting in this approval state. Just received an email. Let me have a look, 11:43. Yeah, it says request for new resource approval, Nadija test. So this is that new contractor. Now I'm gonna select approve. I'm gonna submit. So this is now going to call the Power Automate again. Now, if you look at this, you'll see that's now completed that step, and it has gone to the left-hand side, and it has sent an email to this email. Okay, so I received that email. It's in my Outlook. Yeah, so this is the email. So in this one, it says you're approved to work at ABC company. Congratulations, you are an approved contractor. That's yeah. So that is sort of a very simple scenario, and we have done very complex applications as well. We have, for example, we've done when a work order is completed, we have selected some document templates. We picked it up from SharePoint, fill it up with all the invoice details and generate an invoice and convert it to PDF and send it to the customers. There's a number of different flows, some with hundreds of different actions as well. So you can do quite complex things with Power Automate flows. So that is, I guess, the end of my demo. Katie, I'll hand over to you.
Thanks. You can see that now. Can you see the
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can.
So thank you so much for that. That was awesome. I definitely have some ideas of how we can use that in sales and marketing at Clade, so I'm going to give it a go myself. Thanks everyone for joining us. If you have any questions, then feel free to enter them into the chat box, or if they come to you later, then feel free to send us an email. You can just reply directly to the emails that came to you about this session, or you can contact us at the email address that I'll show on the next slide. The next session, as Nadija mentioned, will continue the focus on Power Automate. So we're going to be looking at RPA, which is robotic process automation, which works by recording and playing back human-driven interactions on your device and turning them into automated workflows, again, with no coding required. So if you want to know anything else, any more about Power Automate, or if you want help with the custom design or build of an application, then feel free to get in touch. As I mentioned, you could reply directly to any of the emails you received about these masterclasses and they'll come to us. Or you can email our customer success manager, Shanice, who some of you might know, at shanice.mar@clade.com.au. Please follow us on LinkedIn if you're not already. That's where we share information about sessions like this. And other than that, I think we can wrap up, and you get about 10 minutes back of your morning. Yeah, recorded. We'll send this round as well once it's uploaded, and we'll put it onto YouTube as well, so you can find it on our YouTube channel too. I think that's everything. Thank you, everyone, and hope to see you in the next session.